Good afternoon. I hope your Thursday is going well. It is now 12:30. I'm Julie Broughton. This is Take 6. We're so happy you're spending a little bit of time with us today for your afternoon news and weather update. Now, if you didn't know, the last 2 days, a lot of us have hit 90 degrees for the first time this year. We have more of that heat in the forecast as we end our work week and move into the weekend. However, if you like it a little bit cooler, we do have a cool down headed our way for next week. We'll talk more about that with your 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. And also, if you've been joining us this week, you know this week we have been hitting the road to Oviedo, shining a spotlight on the stories you wanted us to tell in Oviedo. So coming up in just a few minutes, News 6 anchor Lisa Bell will join us, and she will have a little bit of nostalgia for you and tell you where you can maybe revisit some of your favorite hobbies of your youth in Oviedo. So I am looking forward to that story. That'll be in just a few minutes. But first, we are getting an update on a significant case of child abuse out of Tavares. The state attorney's office is set to give an update on the case against Andre Walker and Kimberly Mills. The pair is currently facing second-degree murder charges for the death of Mills' son, Xavier. Investigators say the boy was tortured before he was rushed to the hospital last month, where he later died. The news conference is set for 2:30 this afternoon. We will bring it to you live right here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. Meanwhile, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and leaders in Sanford are gathering to talk about the issues of child abuse and neglect in Seminole County. News 6's Mark Lehman was there as the sheriff implored people to please speak up if you see signs of abuse.
A gathering of support today in Sanford. Community leaders coming together to raise awareness for Child Abuse Prevention Month. What is your message to the community?
You know, I think that it's so important that the community is aware that there is abuse, neglect, and abandonment that's out there in our communities.
Sheriff Dennis Lima says in Seminole County alone, there are more than 4,000 cases each year. That's why he's calling on everyone to speak out when they see signs of physical or emotional abuse in children.
There's so many individuals and families and kids that need our advocacy, need our voice, and to let them know that there is help available that's out there.
That help coming through organizations like Kids House of Seminole.
Why is it important to raise this awareness?
Because child abuse affects everyone.
CEO Juliet Kong says the Child Advocacy Center brings together all agencies to one location. Workers handle all aspects of child abuse cases, from the investigation through treatment and recovery.
And it's a welcoming environment.
It's a child-friendly environment, yes. And all of our staff, everything is about that child. So as soon as that child and family walks in the door, that's where the focus is.
And this month, Kids House is surrounded by pinwheels as a symbol and reminder of the simple action to keep kids safe.
It symbolizes the lightheartedness of a child, and that it takes all of us as our responsibility to report and prevent child abuse.
And today, community leaders are planting pinwheels outside the Seminole County Courthouse. As for what you can do, Kids House is encouraging everyone to wear blue on Fridays in support of Child Abuse Prevention Month. They're also encouraging anyone to report abuse when they see it at the Child Abuse Hotline. That's 1-800-96-ABUSE. In Seminole County, Mark Lehman, getting results, News 6.
And if you didn't catch that phone number, we have put that story for you on clickorlando.com if you want to watch it again. Florida is facing a dental health crisis. In fact, our state is ranked last in the nation for child access to dental care. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez is taking a closer look at this issue.
I met several people recently waiting in line for hours for a free dental checkup because they're either uninsured or underinsured, leaving them with few options and oral issues that could become fatal.
Well, Aspen Dental wants $6,000, so I don't have that.
There is a common theme.
These days, dental work is very expensive.
At this Daytona Beach high school.
I'm trying to get my partials done, you know what I'm saying, because I've been really needed it. It's been years, because they said it costs $4,000.
Thousands showed up before dawn with the hope of getting free dental care.
We were here at 3:30 this morning.
According to the U.S. Health Resources and Services Administration, Florida ranked 50th in the percentage of children getting an annual visit in 2021, 42nd in percentage of adults getting one that same year. And annually, nearly 120,000 Floridians visit the ER for non-traumatic dental conditions, even though most ERs don't provide dental care.
We are not a third world country. We really should be able to do better.
Dental hygienist and founder of Floridians for Dental Access, Catherine Cabazon, says we're not only short-staffed, but many patients don't have insurance.
There are not many Medicaid providers within the state of Florida and in my county as well. And those that are Medicaid providers, they may not be taking a new patient for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. When you have an emergency, you can't wait. That's what drives people to the ER.
Groups like Floridians for Dental Access are calling on the state to act. One suggestion, get more people in the field to offer routine visits to prevent these 67 different diseases and conditions associated with our oral health. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, Getting Results, News 6.
And as we've mentioned all week, we've been hitting the road to Oviedo. Later today, News 6 anchor Lisa Bell and I will be live in Oviedo, bringing you some of the stories that we have found while we are searching this beautiful community. Coming up in just a few minutes, Lisa is going to show us one of her treasures she is very excited about sharing with us. And if you like pinball, there, I spoiled it. That's the tease. You'll want to stick around. Stay with us. We're back in 2 minutes. Time now is 12:38. Welcome back to Take 6. I'm Julie Broughton. All week we have been shining a spotlight on Oviedo with WKMG Hits the Road, and we've done it a little differently this month. Instead of spending an entire day in the community, we are going out every afternoon taking turns, the different News 6 anchors, field anchoring and showing you some of the gems and highlighting some of the problems that we found. News 6 anchor Lisa Bell and I are very excited. We get to take a field trip together today, so they are letting us leave the building together at the same time, which we're excited about. And you've been talking all week about your story that's airing today. I know you are very excited and you are very proud of this story, Lisa.
So I have this childhood memory, and you and I feel like had similar childhoods.
We did.
Every year for Christmas, we'd go on Christmas Eve, we'd go over to a friend's house, and I looked forward to it, not necessarily because it was Christmas Eve, but because they had a pinball machine in their basement, and I knew that I was going to be able to spend several hours playing on that pinball machine. So when I found out about this pinball lounge in Oviedo, I couldn't wait to go check it out. It's inside the Oviedo Bowling Center. And Julie, I think you might have been there before.
Yes.
For various events. Yes. And so when you're just driving by this building, you would have no clue that this little hidden gem is tucked away inside. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Ed Clamp.
And I'm Kurt Van Zyl.
And
welcome to the Pinball Lounge.
This is amazing. What do we have in here?
Well, you're looking at games that start from as early as 1976 all the way to games that came out literally just a few months ago.
Nearly 50 machines spanning nearly 50 years.
He's going to love showing you
All
this
right,
one.
yes. Best game in here.
This one?
Yes.
Why is that?
You ask anybody that comes in here on a regular basis, they will point to 8-Ball Deluxe. What you're doing is you're hitting drop targets, but it's a very satisfying game. It's very, hush. But
Owners Kurt and Ed have another 200 machines in storage.
And you're rotating them out regularly.
Yes.
Oh yeah, constantly.
Why do you do that? Why do you rotate
Keeps
them
it
out?
fresh.
We have big reveals. We have a special curtain, if you will, or blanket, so you can bring it through the door and go whoosh, and then the blanket comes off and everyone's like, whoa! We bring machines in and people will be hugging the machines because they're so
Really?
into, yes.
Okay,
And
now,
taking
do all
selfies
these-
with them. And
Is it people who live in Oviedo, or who's coming here to play these machines?
all over.
From Germany to Denmark, even Japan.
How did this get started for you guys, collecting pinball machines?
Well, I've been into it since I was a child. My dad had a pinball machine when he was a kid, and I ended up getting one for Christmas. I know Kurt has got his first pinball machine as a child as well.
Also for Christmas.
Also for Christmas,
This
yeah.
was like the epic Christmas gift.
Absolutely.
These are remakes of machines from the 90s. These are some of the best machines ever made.
Two kids who grew up in different times in different cities, but shared a common love for these machines and would ultimately lead to a chance encounter.
So I was looking in the classifieds in the newspaper, Orlando Sentinel, for used pinball machines, and an ad came up for back glasses. That's the artwork on the back of the machine here. And my mom took me to this lady's flower shop in downtown Orlando. She handed me a phone number, and she said, hey, this guy Ed really likes pinball too. You should give him a call. And here we are. That was 1997.
Jaws, this is an extremely popular game.
The two became fast friends, and fast forward to 2015, they decided to do something with all the machines they had collected over the years.
And we met up. Hey, Kurt, how you been? I haven't seen you in a while. You know what we ought to do? We ought to open up our own spot. And everybody keeps talking about doing this. Nobody does it. So we grabbed 14 games, we put them in here, made sure that they were in good shape, and people started coming in.
Today they host several league tournaments and statewide pinball tournaments with plans to expand, giving people of all ages and abilities something to aim for.
For your first time, you got all the pool balls down, I'd say that's fine. I think you should join the ladies of the lounge.
Lisa Bell, Getting Results, News 6.
So, Julie, you and I are going to be out there later this afternoon. We could go
Yes.
play some pinball if you'd like.
Ladies of the Lounge. Okay, I did not realize that is right there in the Oviedo Bowling Center. I was there last year with several of our News 6 colleagues and other colleagues from across the market in a bowling tournament benefiting Rosie's Adventures. And we're going to be out there actually April 12th for the same thing. And they keep sending out emails like, hey, remind people that bowling spots are taken, but you can come play pinball. And I did not make the connection.
Right.
Wow.
So many cool things. Yeah, they actually host statewide tournaments there. It has been so successful that they initially just found this space and asked the people at the bowling alley if they could move in. Well, their business has taken off. They now own the bowling alley. So that's how successful they've been. It's right there off Broadway, and on the outside of the building, it just says bowl on it. You would have no idea that this is inside if you weren't a part of this like pinball cult that apparently exists.
I didn't know that you were in a pinball cult as a child.
I'm not. Well, they've tried to get me into this one. They have so many great stories, though, too. People have gotten married there. They'll walk down like the pinball aisles, each put in a quarter at the same time, and then each has one side of the flippers. So they've talked about that story. They've traveled around the world and seen people in all these foreign countries wearing like shirts with their logo on it. It's really taken off.
That's
incredible. It's been a
incredible.
business for 10 years, even during the pandemic, and they're thriving.
Okay, so did you already know about the Pinball Lounge before we started looking for Oviedo stories?
No, I did not.
Okay.
So I found out about it because I actually heard the event that you're talking about that you and several other News 6 employees are going to be participating in April, coming up in like a week.
Yes, next week.
Yes, I heard people talking about it and then mentioning that there's also a pinball lounge inside, the bowling alley. And I was like, that's interesting. I actually heard people talking about it on the radio. And so I Googled it. I used my Google machine and I discovered this amazing, largest collection of working machines in Central Florida. And so I called them up and they were happy to have us come in and take a tour. And they hope to expand because, as I mentioned, they have like another 200 machines in storage right now.
I just can't imagine just having 200 pinball machines. That story is fascinating. And last year when I was there bowling, I'm a very just amazing bowler. My team always does so well that I didn't have time from making all the strikes to go in there and look. So I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm not actually an amazing bowler, but
I told them about some of my bowling skills as well, my bowling shoes, which you have seen. And I think that the last time you and I bowled was the last time I bowled in general. And I think that I got a score of 43, which I think was better than you.
Okay.
I'm just putting that out there.
I just want to reminisce for a moment about the last time we bowled together. It was your husband's birthday. Matt Austin was there. Ginger was there. And, you show up to bowl and typically, the way it works is you acquire a pair of rented shoes that they've sprayed something on. Well, Lisa Bell was bowling in platform heels, and you would bowl, and then as you would admire your handiwork of the ball going into the gutter, you would drop down in your heels and watch it. And I just remember sitting there with Ginger and Matt, and we were like, how are her knees surviving this event? It is just burned in my brain.
I was just happy that the ball stayed in my lane because I have been known to release the ball and it's actually jumped a couple lanes, and that really makes my neighbors at the bowling alley angry when I mess up, their score. And so I'm always just thrilled when my ball stays in my lane.
Yeah, well, you're so strong that sometimes you just don't know your own strength.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
All right, well, that was a fabulous story. Do you want to see a story I have?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I know that you're very into public art, and Oviedo has had a big push lately for public art, and so we got to go speak to one of the artists who is creating some amazing pieces, some murals you may have seen all over Oviedo.
I think that at the end of the day, everybody is inherently an artist and has the right to call themselves that.
Art can be a tool for self-discovery.
It can be very intimidating just looking at a white canvas, like, what am I gonna do?
Learning about your subject as well as yourself.
The sketching stage is always really exciting because it's like filling in the edges of a map.
Put brush to canvas and see where it takes you.
I've been using a lot of like blues, indigos. Lots of paint mixing happens here, so.
Xavier Moss is on a journey of color.
There's just something about an insanely fluorescent color.
His images jump off the canvas in more ways than one.
The image of like the lamb that comes up a lot throughout scripture, stomping on a snake down here.
He works in a style he calls Bibliological illustration,
which is a fusion of natural history in the context of scripture.
The Oviedo artist also plays a big part in a growing public arts initiative right here in Oviedo. His vibrant colors light up the city.
I think it can make Oviedo a place that people want to go check out.
By now, you've probably seen his postcard mural here at Center Lake Park. He also has one at Round Lake Park recognizing African American history in the area. And there are a few more at the Aquatic Center. Murals by Moss and other artists dot the city.
I think it just makes our community better.
Kathleen Crane is chair of the Public Arts Board. She says it's not just murals. The board is trying to bring in more sculptures, interactive art, and even live performances to the city. Here are some photos from an opera performance earlier this year.
I think success is a variety of projects that bring something or more of something to the city that we don't have already, that touches as many people in the community as possible.
Moss says the murals continue to leave an impression on him as well.
It's too exhausting to try and make my art look like somebody else's and not just lean into my own style. So it was kind of after those that I really started like leaning into this aesthetic.
And much like his paintings, Moss has faith the future of public art in Oviedo is bright.
If you are creative in Oviedo, get involved in seeing like where can we make more art happen,
go out of your way to, you know, make some art, make something beautiful.
Photojournalist
Those
Paul
are
Jordan.
beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I'm wearing hot pink pants today in his honor. But we had such a wonderful time visiting with him, and his energy was just so positive and soothing. And so it was just so wonderful to spend some time with him and to actually watch him create while we were there. And I was surprised because he was talking about sometimes he has to start over, and he was showing us some of his paintings that he had started over. And I think maybe when you're not an artist, you think that every time these amazingly talented people start something that it turns out exactly how they want it. And he was saying, no, that's part of the process. And don't be afraid of starting something and starting over and redirecting. And I think that goes beyond art as well.
So a couple of things. It's so nice to see these murals all over Central Florida. I mean, versus just the standard kind of beige office building that we had seen for decades. But I've seen that iconic Oviedo mural that you featured there with the chicken. It's really cool to see the face of the artist because you just don't know like who actually did that. And I'm excited too because you and I will be at Round Lake Park later today. And so we'll get to see that other mural that you featured there.
Yes, and he was talking about the chicken, and he was talking about going around Oviedo with a friend of his, finding chickens to take pictures of, and how difficult it is to get the color and the feathers just right. You know, these things that you might not think about, but he was talking about that was such a challenge just because if you look at a feather from one way, it presents a color as one way versus another. And so he was wonderful. And he also teaches art classes both online and at a studio in Oviedo.
Well, then when your canvas is an entire building to get everything to scale, I mean, that's a huge undertaking. Really cool.
Yes, he said his dad helps him out a lot with that because sometimes you need more than one set of eyes and more than one set of hands when you're dealing with something that large. So
yeah,
cool.
So, I love it.
Yes. All right, Lisa, are you prepared to sweat today?
Yes. As you know, I was out there on Tuesday. I think that was the first day that we had hit 90 degrees since last October. So I am prepared. I've been hydrating all morning.
Okay.
You know, I plan to change before we go out. So I'm going to, you know, put on like a nice little light polo shirt. So hopefully that'll help keep us cool.
I think so. All right.
Do you have any more tips for us?
Hydrate, maybe some electrolytes. Maybe we'll have a little bit of shade while we're out there. I'm wearing very lightweight clothes today so that we can, and I think we'll stay dry. So here's a check of what we can expect today. We are going to keep the heat around as we move into the weekend as well. Satellite and radar imagery showing not a whole lot of cloud cover out there. We are seeing a few isolated showers out over the Atlantic, but I think we'll stay dry for most of the day. Rain chances today less than 10%. It is 12:52 already. We are 86 in the Villages, 84 in Orlando, and 84 in Sanford, 82 for those of you in Melbourne. Now, as we move through the afternoon hours, most of our interior spots will be right around 90 degrees. Ocala, you could potentially hit 93, 91 for your high today in the Villages. Factor in the relative humidity is going to feel a few degrees warmer than that. All right, we are still couple months away from hurricane season. Colorado State University put out their season outlook today. We are expecting an above average season. Colorado State forecasters calling for 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, 4 of which could become major storms. So pretty comparable to what we saw last year. Of course, we will be here throughout the season for you. Here's what we can expect as we head into next week. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have a cool down on the way. That doesn't head our way till Tuesday. This is what we're expecting. So there's Sunday. We'll see a hot day on Sunday, mostly dry, but by Monday, that same front that caused that severe weather outbreak across the central U.S. will begin to move into central Florida. I don't think we're talking about as much energy as far as severe weather that we saw last night and earlier today across much of the central U.S. Tuesday morning, though, we'll still be tracking the potential of some showers and some thunderstorms. We'll get this front to our south. Tuesday afternoon, notice those arrows behind that. Our winds shift out of the north, and that will help to bring in cooler air. In fact, on Tuesday, we are talking about 78 for our high in Orlando, 77 in the Villages. Here's how it looks as we move through the next several days. Our temperature outlook for April 9th through April 13th from the Climate Prediction Center showing that we will be a little bit cooler than normal and also a little bit wetter than normal. 7-day forecast showing that cool down and that rain not here just yet. We stay in the 90s through Monday before that cool down and some rain heads our way Monday night into Tuesday. Wednesday will top out at 75. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas will be with you starting on News 6 at 4, and he will break all this down for you in much greater detail. As I mentioned, Lisa Bell and I are getting ready to head out to Oviedo for WKMG Hits the Road. We're so excited about that and hope you will join us starting at 4.